welcome to our daily news program coming to you from Canal, Algérie. Let's start off with your headlines for today. The citizens' dignity tops the priorities of the President of the Republic, who is still determined to improve the living conditions of the Algerian people among the nations. A considerable rise in the foreign currency exchange reserves of Algeria's bank during the first term of 2023. Laylat al-Qadr, or the Night of Destiny, is celebrated across the national territory in an atmosphere of piety. And Moroccan lobbyists are denied access to the European Parliament due to their direct involvement in bribing European MPs. Good evening and welcome back. First up in our news, the President of the Republic has once again made it clear that the oath taken soon after his coming to office and reiterated during his swearing-in ceremony speech to restore and preserve the citizens' dignity is indeed an open war. More insights on this key story with Melissa Kubash.
The decision to increase the solidarity allowance to 12,000 dinars for those who earn 10,000 dinars and 7,000 for those being paid 3,000, concerning nearly 1 million beneficiaries, is another telling evidence of preserving dignity, a real workshop on which the President of the Republic is working relentlessly. The President has repeatedly said in all his speeches that the war for regaining the citizens' dignity, initiated since his election, wouldn't end without uprooting all forms of misery and hardship across the country, with the firmness, determination, and the contribution of dedicated men, a case referred to in the speech he delivered at the opening ceremony of the judicial year 2022-2023. Preserving the dignity and the purchasing power of the citizens is at the top of the President's considerations, as clearly indicated in his message on the occasion of World Labour Day 2022. Furthermore, the preservation of jobs and social protection issues, for which the necessary financial resources are mobilized, especially for the benefit of the middle class, people with limited income and the poor segments, is an undeniable reality. The President's war for a decent life is still going on to ensure the conditions for workers and their children to live in peace and dignity. He is working to consolidate the place of this category in need of a particular attention, as stressed in his message to the Algerian workers in 2021. The war of dignity led by the President of the Republic kicked off with the trust placed in him by the Algerian people in irregular and transparent elections. He fulfilled several commitments by removing the income tax, increasing salaries, and other key measures, and keeps on doing so with further concrete steps to make citizens proud of their most cherished country among the other nations.
The economic situation is improving, as the Bank of Algeria has revealed in its latest report. The exchange reserves in foreign currency rose to $14.66 billion by the end of this March. More details with Najah Layar.
It's the first meeting of the Monetary Policy Operations Committee of the Bank of Algeria since the beginning of the year, a meeting that came after the approval of the Monetary Law and Exchange Draft Bill by the lower house of the Parliament. Important measures were taken by the committee to serve the national economy, and accordingly, the reserve requirement ratio was raised from 1% to 3%, starting from April 15th. The meeting was crowned with a set of measures to end inflation and to confront the rise of prices. The bank governor called on the bank's managers to increase the economic financing pace. The meeting also assessed the post-COVID-19 monetary policy and noticed the bank and the financial institutions return to the implementation of the precautionary policy. The Bank of Algeria also indicated that it paid 463.37 billion dinars, which is equivalent of 22% of the financing program. The bank also revealed good indicators regarding the foreign currency exchange reserves, estimated at $66.14 billion in this March. The current account of the Public Treasury Improvement allowed the return of the Revenue Management Fund that stopped working in 2017. And regarding cash liquidity, it increased from 1,996 billion dinars at the end of December 2022 to 2,475.817 billion dinars at the end of this March, thanks to the increase in exports. The Bank of Algeria, which has always adopted a cautious policy, closely awaits the development in the financial situation while adopting a strict monetary policy that ensures the bank's and the economic security.
To Oran province now, where the rehabilitation process of the El Maqta seawater desalination station project entered its second phase. Once finalized, this station will increase the production capacity to 500,000 cubic meters per day to the great delight of the local inhabitants. Melissa Kubash reports.
As mentioned by the President of the Republic during the Council of Ministers, seawater desalination stations must be generalized as a strategic plan to preserve this vital substance. This Oran desalination station is witnessing an increase in its production capacity thanks to the dedication and efforts deployed by its technical team.
يوميا الإنتاج يصل إلى 345 ألف.
The production capacity reaches 344,000 cubic meters per day, knowing that last year and during the same period it didn't exceed 240,000 cubic meters. This increase was achieved thanks to a maintenance operation carried in the entire station. As for the summer, we can assure the inhabitants of the region that the increase will continue gradually until it reaches 500,000 cubic meters by the end of the current year.
تامة إن شاء الله بإذن الله اللي هي 500 ألف متر مكعب يوميا في نهاية السنة الحالية.
The station is willing to achieve major objectives thanks to the capacities of its 120 young engineers and technicians, all graduates of the Algerian University.
I work in this control room. We have an eye on all the equipments. We can check their performance and analyze them online.
I am in charge of controlling the quality of the treated water through specific indicators. We make sure to offer a good quality water for consumers.
Great results are made by El Maqta station, which will ensure a regular supply for the inhabitants of the west of the country.
And the engineers of the Research Center of Industrial Technologies in Sharag, Algiers, work on several types of projects, from innovative solutions to problems of different companies to developing prototypes of machines and devices, including an electric car. Story by Ines Kalu.
This is an electric car. This prototype is equipped with a 6-kilowatt motor, which can reach a top speed of 80 kilometers per hour with a 48-volt battery. Once completed, this model will be commercialized. Designed by engineers from the Industrial Technology Research Center, this model has achieved an integration rate of 30%.
The research and engineer group started the study and design process. We constructed the vehicle together with the socio-economic partner and then assembled the various mechanical parts of the vehicle. At this part, we are trying to finish the electrical part.
In addition to the research and innovation component, Industrial Technological Research Center is a national leader in non-destructive testing, works in coordination with economic operators, and provides them with quality services thanks to its calibration and measurement laboratory for non-destructive equipment.
The work is to take the equipment that the consumers brings us, doing calibration checks to issue a calibration certificate which will be valid for 1 year.
The Industrial Technology Research Center engineers and researchers are developing their invention and patterns to put them at the service of the industry and the national economy.
In a different context and in an atmosphere of piety, Laylatul Qadr, or the Night of Destiny, was celebrated on Monday across the national territory. In Jami' al-Jazair, the celebration was marked by the presence of the Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdurrahman, who, and in company of other senior state officials, honored the reciters of the Holy Quran and their teachers who spared no effort to instill in them the lofty values of the Holy Book. In another story, the Moroccan lobbyists are denied access to the premises of the European Parliament, a precautionary measure in the light of the procedures in progress. The ongoing criminal investigation is meant to clarify the circumstances of the scandal which jolted the EU Parliament. Ines Gulu reports.
Moroccan lobbyists are denied access to the European Parliament, a decision adopted by the European MPs during a behind-closed-door meeting held at the European institution. According to the U.S. media Politico, this is a precautionary measure in light of the ongoing proceedings. Another precautionary measure is that the MPs will not be allowed to make official trips to Morocco while criminal investigation is ongoing. They are also required to seek permission from the European Parliament to invite diplomats from the countries to the premises. Lawmakers must also inform the Parliament's President, Roberta Metsola, each time they meet with them. It should be recalled that the guidelines are mainly meant to clarify the situation of MPs and give Metsola as senior officials better control over who meets whom, in the context of an ongoing criminal investigation in Belgium into bribes paid by Morocco to MPs. Their adoption follows calls in December 2022 and February 2023 by a majority of MPs to exclude Moroccan lobbyists from the European Parliament. As a reminder, in the context of the corruption scandal that jolted the Moroccan Parliament, Belgian investigators seized 1.5 million euros in cash from the home of Pierre Antonio Panzeri, a former socialist MP who became an NGO leader and is a central figure in this story.
In a new development, the clashes between the Sudanese army and the rapid support forces continue. At least 97 people were killed and hundreds injured. On Monday, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres called on for an immediate ceasefire and urged the conflicting sides to restore peace and settle the crisis via dialogue and peaceful means. And we wrap up our edition with Jumawi Africa concert that took place at Ibn Khaldun Cinema Hall. The group enchanted the audience that came from several provinces to admire the troup's latest album. Najah Tayar reports.
9 artists and friends who have shared their pleasure in playing and exchanging music for more than 20 years, from reggae to Sha'bi, passing to the Andalusian and the Gnawa. Jumawi Africa Group was and has remained over the years one of the Algerian youth's favorite groups. We play all the styles of the Algerian and Western music. Today we presented to the audience our latest album entitled Amshi. Each member of the group masters a different musical style. It has been 20 years performing on stage, and it's a real honor for us to always find our audience faithful each time.
وهذا شرف لنا. الألبوم كان فيه منوعات يعني كان فيه.
The album is a mixture of styles. There is Bedoui music, Andalusian and a bit of Sha'bi.
On essaie de reprendre des textes تاع التراث.
We try to take texts from our Algerian heritage and blend it in a musical style that is better understood and received by the youth.
Plus ou moins
For the members of the group, the main rule during each concert is to celebrate the moment of meeting, sharing music, emotions, and support with the audience. What really appeals to me most is this mixture of styles and cultures, this diversity that we find in each song. It's a discovery for me. I like the concert a lot. I wish them more success. With a rich career and several concerts throughout all Algeria and abroad, Jamawi Africa becomes one of the current Algerian musical references and one of the pioneers of the Algerian musical survival.
And with that, we wind up our today's news edition. Thank you for your attention and goodbye.